Hi, this is Dan from CleanGuru. Today's power question is, are bigger cleaning jobs right for you? Last time we were talking about how important it can be to open yourself up to the idea of taking on bigger jobs. How they don't, in many cases, take much more work to land or keep. And by work, I mean marketing, selling, and management. Let me tell you a quick story that opened our eyes to this idea in a big way. One morning, Tony and I were sitting in a beautiful downtown office building waiting to see a lawyer. Now, this wasn't one of our accounts. As you may remember from last time, we had gotten used to cleaning much smaller accounts, and nothing as nice as this place. Anyway, while we were sitting there waiting for our appointment, it hit me. I was looking all around and it really hit me. I turned to Tony and began to tell him what I had noticed, and more importantly, what I was thinking. You see, this place was beautiful, sure, but it was also perfectly quiet, with hardly a soul to be seen or heard anywhere. And we were down there in the middle of the day and waiting for a long time. So we talked about it. We talked about how the downstairs lobby that took up, other than the restrooms and the elevators, nearly all of the first floor, looked perfect. And probably looked perfect an hour later, and probably pretty close to perfect when the cleaning crew arrived at 6 p.m. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mean that it didn't need to be cleaned each night. It did. But that cleaning would be nothing compared to the kind of full court press cleaning that we were having to pull off in many of the places that we cleaned. This place looked like we had died and woke up in cleaning paradise. Oh, and as far as the office areas, let's just say that when we got in to see the office areas, well, they looked nearly as clean and orderly as the downstairs. Bottom line, the folks using this building weren't being too hard on the place. And the nature of their work, legal work, accounting work, global financial domination, whatever the heck those guys in those posh offices were talking about, well, that wasn't hurting the situation either. Yep, it seemed like there was a lot of thinking going on up there, but not much of the dirtier kind of greasy, grimy work we were used to cleaning up after in our industrial and manufacturing accounts. Let's just say that the bathrooms in that place downtown didn't look anything like the ones we cleaned in our accounts at night. Okay? You get the idea. Now, on a serious note, a lot of the work we were doing was basically taking something from awful to okay once or twice a week. While the cleaning company that had this office building was essentially in charge of the task of simply keeping it looking good. It was still work, sure, but more of a manageable maintenance cleaning plan versus the all-out recovery, man your battle stations type of cleaning that it felt like we were having to do. So what's the point? Well, it isn't that we didn't like our tougher manufacturing accounts. We did like having them. These kinds of places get dirty all the time, and so they need to be cleaned by somebody, and we wanted that somebody to be us. And it sure isn't that all of the nice, beautiful offices are a piece of cake to clean. They're not. It takes a plan to keep them looking that nice every day. The takeaway point is this. You may be able to take care of, or learn to take care of, some bigger accounts. And if and when you do, you may be very glad you did, because they can be relatively easy to staff, manage, and keep the client happy in. For example, you may finally be in a position to offer employees a more desirable schedule, one where they can get maybe 3 or 4 hours a night of cleaning 3 to 5 nights a week. And these bigger, nicer jobs, they may be able to make you more money, total profit dollars per month, and easier than the smaller, tougher ones can. 8% profit on a big account can be better than 25% on a smaller one. It's just straight math. And the big guys aren't the only ones that can grab a hold of the power of that concept. You can too. Now, there's no guarantees, of course. You have to look at each one to see if it makes sense for you to tackle. For example, you need to consider some of the challenges that come with bigger accounts. You may need to think about how you're going to cover the payroll for a while until the bigger checks come in from the bigger job. Are you ready to manage the account? Do you have a way of supervising the job? And you may need to factor in larger or simply more equipment so you can clean the building in a cost-efficient way. Well, that can mean higher upfront cost or ongoing lease payments. But, and this is a big but, it still may be worth it. That's right, in spite of some of these hurdles of taking on the bigger jobs, it still may be a very good thing. But, and this is another big but, it can only happen if you first believe that it could. That's right, that it could be you taking care of the bigger, nicer building. That picture of what we see as possible can make all the difference. Everyone who ever built a large, growing, profitable business first had to believe that it was possible, that it could be done, and that it could be them. They saw what another successful business person had done, and they said to themselves, I can do it too. You know, it reminds me of that powerful expression, what one man can do, another can do. What one man can do, another can do. It's something to think about. Next time, I'll reveal what may be the very best place to find more business, and the answer may surprise you. Until then, remember, you can do this. You really can.